Well, I was looking at the weather forecast, and today is supposed to be the only sunny day of the week. It's supposed to be raining the rest. So I'm not even going to get started on the outdoor edition that I had planned. Instead, today I think I'm going to take the opportunity to build a porch swing. I've built around 7 before in the past for friends and family, but I still don't have one of my own. So today, I think I'm going to build myself one. I'm making my swing out of cedar, so the first step was to sand all the boards, which is everybody's favorite step, right? Now, since I make a few of these a year, I've made myself some wooden templates. However, if you go to my blog, I do have some paper templates available for download. I took the templates and traced out as many pieces of each design that I needed. To make cutting them up a little easier, I first chopped them into pieces using the miter saw, then went over to the bandsaw and finished cutting them out. Now, I've made 7 of these in the past before I got my bandsaw, so if you don't have one, know that you can use a jigsaw. You just got to take a little bit more time. For the rectangle pieces, like the cup holder and the footer, I used my table saw. And then I grabbed one piece from each design and shaped it to my liking on the belt sander. I used this piece as a template so that I can use a flush trim bit to make all the other pieces identical to it. This is especially important for the backs and the bottoms. Next, I take the arm over to the drill press and use a paddle bit to drill a hole for the chain to go through later on. While I'm here, I also make a starter hole for my jigsaw so that I can cut out the cup holder, or beer holder, depending. With all of the pieces done, I now come through with a router and a round over bit and just soften up all the edges. To start joining things together, I grab the footer and the vertical arm support and use the drill press to drill 2 holes. To avoid alignment issues later, after I drill the first hole, I put in a bolt. Then I go ahead and drill the second. Then I can hammer down the carriage bolts and attach it permanently with a washer and a nylon nut. Throw in your wrench is optional. And now we have the beginnings of a porch swing. Next, I repeat the process, joining the bottom and the back supports, drilling the first hole, using a bolt to keep the alignment, and then drilling the second. Hammer in the carriage bolts, flat washer, and then nylon nuts. Then I started joining the back supports to the footer. I used a square for the alignment and a countersink bit for a pilot hole. Before attaching the arms, I went ahead and made a hole for a carriage bolt to go. Then I aligned the arms so that the chain hole was right in front of that vertical support, then drilled a hole in the back support and hammered in the carriage bolt. Now I did use a countersink bit on all holes to prevent splitting. Next I put together the cup holder, put it underneath the arm, and then attached it on the front and the top. I was finally able to move up to a taller work surface and start attaching the other supports. So these 1x2 boards are great for this swing because you could very well just cut these to length and then throw them on the swing to make up the slats. Or if you have a router, like what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a round over bit to the edges just to give it a softer look. However, the problem with these boards is they are very difficult to find, not bowed or warped. And you need around 10 in order to complete the swing. So actually what I've done in the past, especially whenever I've made 3 or 4 at a time, is I've only purchased 1x6s, and then I use my table saw to rip down the 1x6s into the 1.5" strips. So 2 alternatives for you depending on what tools you have available. I was able to find 5 straight 1x2s, so I went over them with a round over bit. But then I took my 1x6s and just cut them into strips, then also went over them with a round over bit. I set up a stop block at my miter and cut all of the slats to length. And then it was as simple as attaching them to the frame. I always personally start off with attaching the front and the back slat first. Then I use a 1/2" board as a spacer for the rest. After getting the sides screwed down, I go back through the middle and attach those. With the bottom done, I repeat the process for the back, again attaching the top one first. And now we have a porch swing. With these being made out of cedar, they are very lightweight. For a finish, I used teak oil, which is made for dense wood. Once it was dry, I started attaching the chain. I tried to use some square nose pliers, but couldn't break them without the help of my husband. So I ended up using some bolt cutters stuck in my vise, and this made it as easy as cutting butter. I drilled a hole in both sides for a carriage bolt and a short chain to go. Then attached a longer chain to the top carriage bolt and fed it through the chain hole. I used S-hooks to join the chains and then hung it up on my porch. So you can build this swing for just over $100. So if you've been wanting a porch swing, I say build one yourself. I do have a written tutorial with a little bit more detail in it, posted on my blog, which is wilkreviews.com. Also, there you will find the templates for this porch swing. So that's it for this one. I think I'm going to grab me some sweet iced tea and watch all of this weather blow in. But I will see you soon.
What are you doing? Let me see that.
Alright, this one please.
This one?
Yeah.
Just line it up.
Yeah.
Open the jaws.
I know.
There you go.
Show off.
Let me know if you need some more man strength. I'll be outside.